Hey, it's Ali again for alanspire.com. Now before we begin and jump into Maya, I just wanted to kind of outline what we'll be going through in this tutorial. Now, we'll be creating a object and then masking it with another object. So, similar to like the Cascading text effect by Campbell. Now, it just kind of overlaps. Yeah. The other thing we'll be doing is recreating some Cinema 4D style shaders inside of Maya using the hypershade and the node editor. We'll be working with like sample info nodes and ramps and stuff like that, so that's pretty cool. And image based lighting. Now, I'd normally be using global illumination and stuff like that, but my computer is kind of having a mind of its own. Every time I enable global illumination, it kind of crashes. So either until I get a new computer or until I can fix out what problem is causing it, I'm not going to be using global illumination. However, I'll be using the final gather inside of Mental Ray. So let's just jump in and get to it. Hi, welcome to Maya. Now I'm going to assume that you know your way around Maya, so I'm not going to be explaining a lot of things, but just the techniques. Okay, so let's start by creating a new project. So if we go to File, Project Window, and create new, and then label this Cascading text. Okay, and kind of the location that you prefer. I'm okay with this one. If you want to change it, just click this button and navigate your way around. Okay, you can leave everything as it is and click accept. Okay, save the scene, call it Cascading text, and make sure it's my ASCII. It's more fail-safe than my binary. Okay, and you can save it. Okay, the next thing is we'll just check your Autosave settings. So if we go to Window, Settings, Preferences, go to File and Project, and just make sure you have Autosave enabled. That will kind of help you out in case you get stuck or Maya crashes. You have a backup. It will save every 10 minutes. Okay. Now the work from Nick Campbell of Grayscale Gorilla. He did this. The tutorial's Cascading text effects with Cinema. Now he did this using Cinema 4D and MoGraph. Can you see how the way the text comes up and the cover comes? I'm not going to be doing this entirely, but I will be showing you some of the techniques that you can try and recreate some of this in Maya. Alright, let's download the HDRI image. So if you go to hdrlabs.com, click on Smart IBL, the SIBL archive, and then you could just click on any one of these that you want and it will automatically download. Now I like the Barcelona rooftops, so I'll download that one. The next thing you need to do is extract it and move it into, I'll show you, into the folder that you created in Maya. So, and move it into the source images. So let's bring that in there. Now try and make sure that you have everything in one folder. So if you move around or anything happens, you can just take that folder with you. You don't have to worry about linking files and relinking. It's a better way of working. Okay, so let's begin. We'll create a text. So if we go to Create Text, click this icon. Now I'm just going to do one letter. So let's just do A here, and then you can select the font. You can select any font you want, but try not to go anything fancy, like for instance, where is it? Like these, or you know, with too many curves and stuff like that, because Maya doesn't like it that much. Alright, so I'll go with AVI next and bold. Okay, and you can easily just create the bevel, but obviously I need the curves, so I want the curves, so click create. Now here we are. If you want to zoom in, select this, switch to here. If we select the outer area and press R to scale, and we'll just scale it up just like that much. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to create the bevel. So if you select the outer curve and then select the inner curve and then go to under surfaces, create surfaces, and then select the options for bevel plus. Go to edit reset so it comes back to normal. Now because I'm going to be creating two inside and one outside, so we'll set this to 1 and you can leave this as they are, and bevel. So that's the outer layer. Okay, now you can hide this, so Control H to hide. Now let's do the inside, so select that and select the inside and go to surfaces and click on that and set this one to around 0.45, so it's like just under half, and then you set this one to 0.07 and set this one to 0.07, so then it contains inside and doesn't kind of seep or leak out the edges. Okay, now that we have a half one, now what we need to do is duplicate this. Okay, we can hide the curves first, so hide the curves, we don't need them anymore, and then duplicate this, so you click it and click Control D to duplicate. Now if we switch to the 4-way layout and go to the top view, just zoom in, press W, let's open the window editor. So if you click window and then go to the outliner, and we can just make sure we've selected the third one and just kind of push it back. And if we switch to the wireframe view, just push it back, zoom in a bit. I just want to make sure that it's just roughly lined up. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it just has to be behind it. Alright, now if we bring back the outer curve, the outer bevel, so Shift H onto it and zoom in, you can see that here it's it's leaking. So if we select these two and Control D to group, and then if you press R to scale and just scale it in the Z axis just slightly down, and then press W and just push it back just to make it slightly smaller and more in the middle. Okay, so that's done. You can take these out of the group, and now we don't need them in the group. Okay, and delete the group. Alright, so that's done. So we have the outer and we have the inner. Now the next thing we need to do is create the colors. So, but before we create the colors, we need something to test it on. So if we create the environment, so if you go to render settings, switch to mental ray. So render using and then mental ray. Now if you haven't got mental ray here, then it's probably turned off. So if you go to window, settings, plugin manager, and just kind of go down to the bottom and make sure that the my to mr.bundle is loaded and auto loaded. Okay, go to indirect lighting and create an image based lighting. So create that, then it loads up. Click the file menu and then go to your desired your downloaded and then so go to your downloaded HDR and select the .hdr file, click open. Now it should be loaded, and you could turn final gather on as well. You can leave the settings as they are, so you don't now that's created. Now the other thing I want is, can you see the light source here? Now I want that on the front, not on the back. So if we just select this layer, click E to access the rotation tool, and then select this and press Shift to turn it around, right round to about here. Now it's on the front. I don't like that that's too far in the front, so just bring it to the side a bit. So let's look. Yep, it's in the front, but it's just angled. Okay, and we can bring that up a bit as well. If we just select this here. Okay, so that will give us the kind of effect that we want. Okay, so now we need to put the shader on. So if we open up somewhere down here on the left, it's the hypershade, node editor, and the perspective view. Just zoom in so we can see this kind of better. It's too much. Okay, select the layer, select the object, right click, go to assign favorite material and select blend. Okay, now if we label this blend as outer text underscore shader, SHDR, so we know that's a shader. Okay, and just change the color to a kind of grayish white. Okay, now select this in the node editor, double click here to make it bigger. You can just hide this out of the way, we don't need that. Okay. We need to assign the ramp. So if we select here, right tab, press tab, and put ramp, and select texture, and press enter, and then you can move this out here. Now for this one, we can leave it as is. We also need a sampler info node. So sampler info node, press enter, and select that. Actually, put sampler info node here. Now if you click on the dot here and select facing ratio, and just put it in here, and go to UV coordinates V. Now what that will do is the sampler info node will look at each face and see how much of a percentage is it facing the camera. So if it's facing the camera, it will appear, it will not be visible, and if it's not facing the camera, it will be visible. So that's what the sampler info node and the ramp is doing. Okay, now. Okay, so now we need to create another ramp. So if we click here, click ramp, press enter, put it here. This time, if we switch these around, so a white to black ratio, not black to white, then, and also if you change the interpolation to a linear down, yeah, linear down, so this is kind of more black. And if you select the facing ratio from the sampler info and assign that to the UV coordinates V as well, so you'll get a white here and a black here. Okay, now if you select the outer text, now we need to assign this ramp here to the specular color, and we assign it also to the reflectivity. Now to assign it, if you middle click on the mouse on the actual object, now to assign it, if you middle click on the ramp and just drag it and drop it onto the diffuse and let go, now we've assigned these up. Okay, now if we give it a quick render, okay, so that's finished rendering. So if you can see here, there's a nice reflection coming from the image based lighting, and if you look close here, where the faces are facing the camera, it's brighter than where the faces are not facing the camera, so you have a nice glossy surface. Okay, so now we need to switch back to the perspective view. Actually, the outliner, where is it? Yeah, we can hide the outside layer, so Control H. So we're left with the two inside ones. If we go to Window, Rendering, Hypershade, select the outer text and go to Edit, Duplicate Shading Network. So that one will be and then label it Inner Text 1 Shader. Then again, Inner Text, Edit, Duplicate Shading Network, and then call that one Inner Text 2. Okay, now let's color these. So let's click on color, and we'll make this one like a dark red. Actually, yeah, make this one a kind of greenish color. Greenish blue. Select the inner text color and make this one like a dark red. Okay, now the easiest way to do this is if you hover over inner click and drop that there, then again do the same for this, middle click and drop that there. So, and then you can close this. So now we're left with two of these. So let's do a quick preview of this. Yep, you can see the reflections all around, and then there's no reflection where the camera faces, so that's good. There's not enough light, but we'll get to that later. Alright, so that's mostly done. What we need to do is bring this back, so Shift H, hide these two, so Control H these. Select all four of these and go to Modify, Edit, Delete by Type, History, so we can delete all the history from it. Okay, next thing up is to create the mask. So if we go to polygons and create the cube, Now line that up right in the middle, scale it up, yeah, switch to wireframe, yeah, and then scale it down. You don't want to make it too big to cover the whole scene, yeah, but you need to cover the letter. So scale that wide, and scale it up again, so that we have a fully covered A. Okay, now bring that down to the outer side, so just about there. Yeah. What you can do is, if we press E, we'll take this like that, press R, and stretch this out like this. Let's see. Does this fully cover? Undo. So that's if we just click W, right click it, W and click, go to Object. Let's see, does this cover the? So we can scale that this way. Scale it down this way, so we have like a side cover. Okay, come back here. Now we need to duplicate this, so if we select it and press Ctrl D once and twice, so what we're left with is 1, 2, 3 A's and 1, 2, 3 cubes. Now select the first cube and select the first letter, the outer letter, so that, and shift it, that, and command click this, or control click. Switch to polygon view and go to mesh, boolean, and intersection. Now there's nothing, it's disappeared. But what you do is, if you select the P cube one, then you can just bring that slightly back. You see how it reforms? And it reveals. Okay, so let's label this one as outer mask 1. Okay, now select cube 2 and command click polygon in the inner polygon. Actually, you know what, bring these two back, so Control H, Shift H to bring them back. Now let's select cube 2 and command click the front one, and then go to mesh, boolean, intersection, and then label this one as inner mask 1. So select cube 3, select the polygon, and go to mesh, boolean, intersection, and then label this one as inner mask 2. Now the other thing is, we have 1, 2, 3 new cubes. So if we slide these back, the first cube is going to be the outer, so click outer text 1. Then this one is going to be the first one, so it's going to be inner text 1, and this is going to be the back one, so it's going to be inner text 2. Yeah, always make sure you label these things so you don't have to worry. Now don't delete anything or any of the history here, because obviously we're relying on the history to kind of reform this. So the next thing we need to do is work on the timeline. So if we go to render settings, switch this to 720, go up, make sure that I'm working as name hash, yeah, and make this one OpenEXR. Okay, label the scene, so the file name is going to be Cascading text. Okay, and 4 is fine. Also, if we go to settings, where is it? Window, settings, preferences, go to animation, settings, and we're in the UK, so if we switch 25 frames, You can work in 30 if you're in the States, but 25 for me. So click save, and then just make sure that this is 1 again, and this is 200, so it kind of covers. Okay, and make sure that we set this to frame 1 and set this to frame 200. Okay, and close this. So now we need to animate. So if we start at frame 5, select our 3 masks, bring them back here, go to channel box and select the translates, right click and key selected, and then if we jump to frame 130, right click here, key selected again. Now what we need to do is again go back to these 3, press W, and then now bring them back so it can fully cover the text. So right now it's fully covered. Yep. And then again right click, key selected. So now we have this like cool animation of it covering up. Okay, the other thing we need to do is offset. So if we select these 3, go to Window, Animation, Graph Editor, zoom out, select all of these, right click, tangents, and make it linear. Now let's start with the outer mask. So the outer masks need to be, actually we'll start with the, so the first one's going to be the back, so that's going to be mask 2. We can leave that as it is. The second one is going to be the front, so it's going to be these. So we can kind of select these, and if we shift this to 10 frames, so it'll be 15. Select these here, so this would be 1, 4, 5, 10 frames. Now select the outer mask, select these. Now again, if we did the mask 15, so one is coming out 5, one is coming out 15, so we need to add another further 10 seconds, so it will be at 25, and then on the back here, so we had at 145, and then another 10, so it'll be 155. So now we have, we look at these, we have one starting here, one starting here, and one starting here, one ending here. This is a bit off. Okay, so again, let's go. So we have the first one, the back text starting here, and then 10 frames in, the second one starts, and then 10 frames in, the outer starts. Yeah. Okay. So I'm happy with that one. So again, save. Just give it a quick preview. Switch to the frame view. I think we need to give this one a bit more time. So if we go back to the graph editor, so Window, Animation, Graph Editor, the outer mask. So if we select this, just make that 35, make that 60. Yep, that's all done. The next thing we need to do, save. We need to create the floor. So if we create a new plane, set it to 1 subdivision in the width and 1 subdivision in the height. So we're left with just the one face. Then press R to scale it up and just scale that right up. Doesn't matter how big you make it. You know what? Just make it 70. Okay. Now if you right click and then go to assign new material, and if we click on the Maya here and use background, it's gone. Now what that does is, now we have a plane and we have the text on it, but with the IBL here it doesn't catch anything. Right now we're going to be catching the, where the light drop, the shadows, and it's going to be a surface on the floor. Okay, so if we give that a quick render, as you can see, there's the reflection and it's catching everything. Looking pretty good. Okay, next up we need to save, add a camera. So create camera, yeah. So if we go to the first frame, actually, you know what, start here. Yeah, select the camera, panels, look through selected, and if we just rotate the camera, zoom out, move around. So let's start at 180. Okay, now go to view, camera settings, and just tear this off. Now let's enable the film gate and the save title option. And if we just set this to overscan, so we can bring it out a bit. So that's the first one. So now if we select the, if we just line up the camera, zoom in, yeah. Now I'm happy with this. So if we just jump to the first frame, switch to the channel box, and just make sure we selected these and key selected. Now if we jump to frame 1, so this is where the last movement is going to be, so I want it right here, so 165. Let me just check. Yep. And then if we rotate the camera around, pan and rotate, yeah, just about roughly right there, and then key selected. Now somewhere here, I'll just zoom out a bit, and key selected. So start here, and voila. Yep. So that one's done. So a quick recap. So we've done the IBL, the image-based lighting background, the sphere. We've set up the masks for the text. We've set up the Cinema 4D textures styles. And we've just set up the camera. So, and the floor. Now the only thing left is we go to the render settings. If we select the Mental Ray IBL first, switch to the animation editor, go to the attribute editor, switch to Mental Ray IBL shape, and make sure emit light and set this to about 1. So what that will do is it will emit the light from the sphere. So where the light source was, it will start to emit more light from it. Okay, that's 1. The next thing is if we go to render settings, switch to quality, set this to about 2. So that will get rid of any noise or any stuff that might occur. Now I'm not going to be enabling the global illumination. The reason why is because I want to finish this tutorial and my computer will crash. But you can enable it and see how it goes. Set the final gather accuracy to about 400 and the secondary diffuse to about 1. Okay, and if we go to ambient inclusion, you want to enable that as well. Okay, and then close this. The next, if we move from the camera, so if we switch back to perspective, so we have our camera here. What we need is a kind of more light. Actually, you know what? Let's just test. So if we go back to render settings, comment, switch to the camera 1, make sure that it will always render from camera 1. Yeah, go to about 110. Select camera and panel to look through selected. Okay, save everything so when we render we won't lose anything, and render. Okay, so that render is complete, and you can see the beautiful reflections here. The colors are all done. There's a reflection on the floor, and the shadows are all in there. The only problem I'm having is there's not enough light. So if we close this off, save it, close it, switch back to perspective mode, go to create lights, and let's create a direction light. Select the R tool, scale that light up, move it up, and if we rotate this as well to about there. Now if you haven't set this to world mode or object mode, if you hold the W, left click. Now I've set it to object mode. You'll normally see it world mode, so it will move relevant to the world. But what we want to do is get it to move relevant to the object. So now we can just move that back. That's where the light is going to be. So let's just move this, rotate again, roughly about here, and then just put it back. So that's where I lost. And you don't need it one. I'll just drop it down to about half. Yep, it will automatically create shadows, so you don't need to worry about that. And what's left? Yeah, you know the environment? Let's change this. If we select the environment, switch to the rooftop C environment.hdr. Now all that is the same one, it's just blurred out. That will just give me a nice background to work with. Okay, now switch back to the camera, so panels, look through selected. So again, save this out, and then render again. Okay, so the render is finished. Now everything is nice apart from this line here, and that is because of the floor. So that's an easy fix. So if we switch to perspective view, so if we select the floor, go to the shader, select the reflectivity here, and add a ramp to it. Now if we switch the type of the ramp to a circular ramp, we get that little middle and then the edge. Now we want it reflective in the middle and hidden from the edge. So if we want to just quickly test this out, so click on IPR, just near the edge, have a look, little box, so it quickly renders. You can see that here. Now if we switch this around, it's kind of hidden. If we bring that in slightly, just switch this to exponential down. Okay, it kind of vanished from here now. We can bring that in a bit further. And then let's do a quick run here to see this region, and then have a look here. Okay, so we got a good reflection here. This could be knocked down a touch more. Don't really like it that much. Yep, that's it. Switch now. That one's done. We kind of got rid of the edge. Switch to the camera view, panels, look through, select camera, and just have a quick save this. And let's render out a fun look. Okay, so that render is completed. Now the only thing I don't like is you can see there's shadows. It's picking up a shadow from the IBL sphere, so the plane is picking up the shadow. The next thing is I think this is just too glass looking, and I think I'll just bring that down a bit. Okay, so if we select the plane, go back to the use background layer, and head over to the reflectivity and just make this just slightly grayish. Okay, and if we just click on IPR here and just select this reflection here. Okay, so that's slightly better. The next thing I wanted to kind of fix is the shadow here. So if we select, now I don't mind having a lot of shadow here, but I just don't want it near the edge. So what we need to do is go to the node editor, so window, node editor, node of the plane. Now select the use background shader. Now if we select this and duplicate the network for it, so it's Control Shift D, and it will duplicate it and create a new shader. Yep, and expand this. actually just click and drag that onto the shadow mask. Now select this to go in there, select that on the outside and make that white. So we want it white here and dark on the outside. So we can just minimize this, go back to the IPR, just have a look at this area here. So as you can see, there is no shadows. So that means we have a nice seamless background that spreads infinitely. Okay, so that's done. The last thing to do is save it, then go to polygons. I wanted to just check one thing. So settings, make sure you check your settings, but if you're going to be working in Fusion or Nuke, then OpenEXR is perfect. But if you're going to be working in After Effects or maybe Photoshop, then I would prefer if you use TIFF. That way you just natively open up. So select the preferred format you want and close. Go to here and switch to the rendering menu, rendering, and click batch render. Well, thank you for watching. I hope that kind of inspired you to go out and create your own kind of designs. I'm going to add the link for Nick Campbell's how to create a shattered text effect inside of Cinema 4D. I know it's not relevant to Maya or any of the stuff that I'll be covering, but as this tutorial was solely based on what he did, I think it's a really good idea for you guys to just head over there at Grayscale Gorilla and have a look at his work. He's very inspirational, and his color theories and designs and stuff like that is kind of a lot better than mine. But I'll be trying to recreate some of his stuff inside of Maya, because this is a lot harder. But head over there and have a look. Thank you very much, and tune in for another episode.